Okay, here we go, folks. Let's just make sure that everything's running well with the stream. And once it's live, I'll share it to my group and we can get rocking and rolling here. Hope everybody's having an excellent Tuesday. I know that I'm feeling good. I'm ready to go. We're going to have a little short session here, a midweek session. Of course, normally we do this on Saturday. Break a few today. Yeah, so Amos and Elbrindel, of course, having survived a harrowing harpy attack, it was a narrow one actually, found themselves beset upon by the screeching beasts on the shoreline. Matter of fact, one of them actually careened through the roof, shattering a lot of the lean-to to bits. It was very fortunate for our protagonists, however, as it allowed them to get a couple blows in on them. Okay, so I'm just going to move on. I've posted that to the group, so we're going to do a little quick recap. So yeah, essentially there was just a combat between Elbrindel, Amos, and the harpies. They were attacked during their watch, so of course Elbrindel took first watch, Amos fell asleep, and we had a couple choices there. It sort of came out of nowhere. And essentially, we ended during the conclusion of the fight. However, both were a bit wounded, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Elbrindel took a little bit of damage there, and Amos got hurt somewhat badly. So I guess we're gonna go from there. Just let me know if the music's too loud, folks, or anything like that. And fantastic. If you have any comments, just let me know. If you have them, just toss them up there in the chat, and I'll take a look and see what I can do for you. Okay. Right, so here we are. I don't want to take too much time here on the wrap-up of the combat and the movement to the next day, because we have places to go, things to do. Amos heaved a great sigh of relief, attempting to staunch blood from his wounds with a free hand. I think he's going to use his pirate sense of humor here a little bit, though. This island just keeps trying to put us in the grave, it seems. Amos said, sweat rolling down his face at the exertion of the combat. The struggle. Combat. Fine. Elbrindel simply nodded in reply, surveyed the immediate area to make sure that the two were alone and that there were no further threats, and then rushed to Amos's side to assist him. Thankfully, and let's just actually scroll back up here really quickly and take a look, because I recall that we had our protagonist go to the tree line and gather some herbs earlier. What did she have? Bitter leaf, poison and infection, medicinal herbs. Yeah, okay, so we're going to use the bitter leaf that she found earlier. Thankfully, that bitter leaf I found earlier will work wonderfully for our poultice. And we're in no shortage of cloth. Bell noted after a cursory examination of the great ragged wounds, great ragged slashes in Amos's across Amos's skin. Just going to take a quick look. Yeah, okay. applying her practiced hand. Yes, okay. Depends on British versus American, I guess. To the task. She quickly found Amos's wings. The pirate, wincing as the bitter leaf met his was brought to bear. Don't be such a child. Elbrindel chided. So we're gonna develop that angle a little bit more here. I think that little bit of a playful angle could be fun. Shot her a glare. It said nothing. Sleep now, and tomorrow we'll decide what to do about our encampment. The elven woman suggested. By then, however, she quickly realized she was talking to a man in the deepest of sleeps. Great snores issuing forth from the semen. And I'm gonna hyphenate. I'm gonna actually do a parenthetical here. And smile. So she's gonna smile to herself. Like that. It's a little bit of a cute moment. We're gonna do a little bit of a chapter break here. Like to use stars, but apparently Calmly Writer doesn't like that. Sun rose sooner. Sun rose. And do I want to time? Well, no. We'll just say the sun rose. The warmth from its rays. Embracing both adventurers as they lay exposed. As they rested, exposed to the elements. Fortunately for them both, no other beasts harried them that night. And I'm not even going to roll for that. We already rolled for an encounter that evening. I don't think it's necessary to have two at once. And again, guys, if you have anything to say in the chat. Oh. Yeah, that might not be a bad idea, Lindsay. It's a good suggestion. Let me know if the music is too loud or if it's intrusive, and I can turn that down as well. But that's not a bad idea. Nice warm broth. And they do have, a bit of mushrooms and a bit of meat to add, so I think that sounds like a good plan. Rising first, Elbrindel gathered her cloak from nearby stave, like we'll say a pole, from a nearby pole, wrapped it about herself to eliminate the last of the night's chill, and set to making a hearty breakfast. What goes in? Mushrooms from yesterday's forage at the forests, at the tree line. We'll just say at the tree line. It's not necessary to say the forest. Some choice bits of charcoal cooked meat from yesterday's, I guess we'll call it impromptu hunting. Well, I would say really from yesterday's, from the coyotes, we'll just say. And some, a handful of savory herbs salvaged from, both gathered from the forest and salvaged from the shipwreck to the north, and a skin of fresh water would make for a nourishing broth, a thin stew. Alright, perfect. Soon, Amos awoke, finding the pain, and let's just go back real quick, just to make sure I get this right. Yeah, he got cut on the face. And also I'm going to say the chest. And actually, in his chest and on his face, he was significantly diminished. Inwardly, he felt some degree he felt deep appreciation for the ministrations of his new companion, and found himself admiring her. I don't know if we're going to go in that direction too deeply, you know what I mean? It's a little early for that kind of stuff. Okay, so if the music is low, I'm going to hammer that up a little bit. Let me know if that's a little bit better, maybe. Hopefully that, hopefully you can hear the music now. I'm not sure if that's a go, but we'll continue. Ready. The broth was delicious. All of the ingredients working together to produce all the ingredients working together. We'll leave it there. Don't want to expand too much upon that. As Amos sipped at the clay cup containing the mixture, he noticed even more strength returning to his limbs. And I'll note as well, guys, of course, we made the decision to make both of our companions level 2 this time around, so we're not gonna, I promise we're gonna look at the actual character sheets today, but things have gotten away from me, so I'm gonna nix that. We're gonna do that next time, but I promise, by the time we have our next stream, I'll have full-on character sheets for both characters. But the most important thing to remember here is we have second wind, and Elbrindel, actually, in terms of her thing, might actually be third. I haven't really decided yet, but we'll when we get there, we'll worry about that. Okay, topics of conversation. I'm going to actually create an array here. That's the whole point of these sorts of things. So we're going to have a real brief conversation about the cave, particularly. But I'd like to know what they think. So what do they actually might consider might be inside? So Amos is daydreaming. Despite daydreaming, Amos wondered what might lie inside the cave that Elbrindel had mentioned last night. And this is going to be just his thoughts on the matter. We're not going to actually, that's not laid out in stone. We do have a couple suggestions from Lindsay and Christopher as well as to what actually lies inside, but this is just more of a lead off, an icebreaker, and we'll do 3. I want to say chained prisoners. There's like a strange, eerie moaning, and she described And given that there's a logical situation with the shipwreck, and Elbrindel had mentioned that there were plenty of other people shipwrecked here, a non-supernatural cause is perfectly legitimate. So that might be something to consider. Alright. So that's one thing we can go for there. And, oh wait, let's see if anybody has anything extra to throw in there. If not, we'll continue. Chained prisoners, their groans escaping from the cave mouth. Ex-shipwrecks. Well, shipwrecked sailors like himself. Well, he's not shipwrecked. He's marooned, but you know, you get the idea. 2. See if anybody has anything real quick. But no. Yeah, more harpies. Really? I mean, they prefer to be in the skies or in the canopy. More harpies. Amos is not quite over the brutality of the attack. So that's still top of mind. Okay, and a lost pirate treasure. So now he's, you know, he's a man who's, he's a pirate, so he's really interested in always thinking about these things. Guarded by spirits, ghosts, or some other ghoulies that may be connected to it. Alrighty. Let's do a quick dice roll and see what happens. 1 it is. Leaning back and considering the now destroyed canopy of the lean-to, Amos spoke his first words of the day. Suppose that cave, you know, the one to the south you'd mentioned. What if it was actually just men, sailors like myself, who'd been captured and taken within? No need for ghost stories. Could be worth investigating. Elbrindel's lips formed a tight line, her skepticism plain on her fair features. She shook her head slightly. No, I don't think so. I haven't heard sounds like that coming from any man I've known. She replied. Amos was undeterred, feeling his courage return, but as he downed the stew, green stew. Oh yeah, well, welcome to the stream. Oh yeah, okay. There is a bit of lag, Lindsay, when it comes to that kind of stuff. Yeah, there's normally going to be 10 to 15 seconds lag, just the nature of the game, unfortunately. The good news is I only check back every minute or minute and a half just to make sure. And Mike, welcome to the stream. Hope you're going to enjoy it. We're not going to go super long today, but we are going to have a little bit of fun. Alright, if we're to have any hope of staying alive in this, we'll say God's forsaken. We're going to imply that Amos is a polytheist. If we're going to have any hope of staying alive in this God's forsaken place, we're going to need some more supplies. And perhaps more. We can't simply eke out a night-to-night existence, hoping that we don't get eaten every time we close our eyes. Keeping in mind, Elbrindel's been here a lot longer than Amos, so his panic, Amos said, his panic is semi-evident. Plus, he's kind of gotten the worst of most of these encounters, and he's a little bit dragged out from this. Not wanting to point out that she'd managed to make it on her own through many such nights, mostly by avoiding confrontation or hiding from it. Elbrindel acceded. In some ways, I agree. Two are stronger than one, though much more conspicuous. Are you fit to travel? Amos stood, shaking the stiffness from his legs and rubbing his torso with his arms. Yeah, it still hurts a bit, but you're fixed me up good. Should be fine to at least investigate the cave. Maybe whatever was inside is gone. Yeah, maybe. Elbrindel did not sound overly convinced. Finishing up their breakfast, both Amos and Elbrindel began to make ready for the cave. Okay, yeah, okay. And I don't think she said, I'm going to control F here. An hour's journey is what she said. Unsettling noises at all hours. No, it's not the usual time at all, Mike. I normally do this on Saturday in the afternoon, but this last Saturday I was at an event, so it wasn't possible for me to do this. But normally Saturdays are a little bit better for people. I just didn't want to delay it too much. Alright. On the way to the cave, it's about an hour's journey. I don't really expect too much to happen there, so we're going to sort of skip straight ahead to that. Advancing along the shoreline, Amos admittedly drifting in and out of a daydream as he allowed himself to enjoy the bright sunny day and the sound of the tide rolling in and out. Both remained silent. Then, as if out of nowhere, and this is actually going to be interesting. So what we're actually going to do here is do the array that was from the group earlier, because before I proceed with description, I'd like to make sure that we're on the same page. So in the group earlier, we had two suggestions, and I'm going to paste these into the array here now. So what is actually inside the cave? And of course our companions won't actually know this yet, but we're going to need to know this in terms of our game mechanics. So number one, a tribe of goblins that worship a crystal skull and bring its sacrifices from those shipwrecked on the island. Thank you, Lindsay. And from Chris we have the writhing corpses of Elbrindel's shipmates, their souls enclosed in eldritch cases that kept them always on the threshold of death and life. Both intense. Both intense. So what we're going to do here is roll it up. Drum roll, please. It is one. It is one. So we are going to go with the tribe of goblins, so they're going to sound a whole lot different from the corpses. Okay, then, is that out of nowhere? And actually, I'm going to get a perception check on both of them, if I'm not mistaken. Elbrindel gets a +3 and Amos gets a +1. So we're going to do a quick roll for that. Yay, exactly. Yeah, it's nice when your number comes up. So we're going to roll for Amos first on a perception check. Oh, 13, not bad. And Elbrindel. Haha, a 1. Elbrindel does not hear anything. For once, we got Amos taking up the lead. Amos lifted a bandaged arm to signal a stop. A halt. Signal stop. A little more assonance. Alright. No, halt here. He whispered. Crouching low and moving over rocky shore to hug the clay embankment. Hug a clay embankment. What is it? Elbrindel asked, quietly, under her breath. Amos described a high-pitched cackle, likely humanoid, and somewhat primitive. Elbrindel pursed her lips and narrowed her eyes, thinking back through her catalog of experiences on the island so far, and coming up blank. It went without saying that they should proceed with great caution. Still staying near to the raised embankment so as to remain as inconspicuous as possible and invisible to those who did not exit the cave mouth entirely. The two crept closer to the entrance, and they're going to make it directly to the entrance. Now we're going to do a little bit of a check to make sure that there's no guards posted, or if there are. It is daytime, sort of just coming up on noon, so it is entirely possible that they're a little more lax than they might be, say, at nighttime when one would be expecting more threats. However, this is a dangerous place, so what do we think about the threshold? Yeah, rigged by Carhu, amazing. I'll sort of pause there just for a second, and we'll think about a threshold. Give me a number out of 100, maybe. You know, higher than 30, higher than 40. What we sort of think the percentile would be. I'm kind of thinking that it'd be more appropriate to look at maybe a 30. Anything under a 30 would be guarded. Anything over it would be unguarded. Just where it's the daytime. If it was nighttime when they were doing this, I would say probably the reverse, at least 70 or 80% chance likelihood that they would be guarding this cave mouth. But we'll leave it there. I'll give you a couple more minutes while I... Okay, well, if we agree, I mean, we'll go with 30, if that's the case. And we'll roll it up. Let's do it. 1d100. Anything higher than a 30, it's unguarded. Anything lower than a 30, it is guarded. A 26. So, unfortunately, Amos and Elbrindel are not having excellent luck, but maybe they can do something about that. Once they were within 30 feet of the cave mouth, a craggy outcropping providing shade to those who stood within. And actually, another perception check. We have to make sure that they can actually see them. So we're going to roll for Amos to see if he can spy the guard. That's a 9, and Elbrindel is 13 plus 3, she can. It was Elbrindel's turn to reach one hand back to halt her companion. Pointing, she indicated a squat, green-skinned form hunched in the shade provided by the outcrop. The stony, the craggy outcropping. Goblins. Elbrindel whispered, her words barely audible. Amos nodded, and I think... Let me take a quick look here. Yeah, only 2 bows. And the harpy encounter. Yep, so just did a quick check there. There's just the 1 bow, so there's only 1 missile weapon at this point in time. Amos is actually going to try and creep up on the front there, so he's going to do his sneak. Amos nodded and began to advance, keeping his body weight low and his feet light. Meanwhile, Elbrindel readied her bow, took aim at the goblins, at the center of the goblin's torso, and waited for her opportunity to let loose. Okay, so we're going to try the sneak, and that's all. This is all going to depend on his sneak check here. Nice, Mike. A mysterious wizard from Ankarel. I don't know if, you never know. You never know which way the story's going to go. So we're going to roll a stealth check for Amos, just to see how amazing he is at this. Good luck to you. 6. Not good. So that's going to be simultaneous. As Amos neared the periphery of the cave mouth, the stones beneath his tread basically betrayed him. Grinding together. Hearing the noise herself and seeing goblins. Actually, well, let's just say, the goblin still may not recognize that. It just might be a noise to him. Let's see, roll a perception check for that goblin. 13. Yeah, he does hear it. Seeing the goblins bald head whip to the source of the grinding. Whip to the source. She relinquished her hold on the bowstring. And here we go. She's going to get a clean attack. Total flat-footed attack on the goblin. And then we're going to roll some initiative after that. 5. Despite training her aim in advance, the arrow flew wide of its target, clattering loudly against the rock wall nearby. Now, the goblin hopped up from the stump, the driftwood had been using as a stool, drawing a cruel but rusted scimitar from his rag loincloth. And here we're gonna do some initiative really quick. A little bit of combat for everybody. Alright, so first we're gonna do Amos's initiative. Amos, Elbrindel. Goblin. Goblin 2. Goblin has a friend. May not arrive immediately on the scene though. But he certainly will shortly enough. Alright, so let's just look at Dex here real quick. Yeah, okay, Amos is a +1 and Elbrindel is a +2, so in every way she is superior. Alright, Amos, good luck, buddy. Here we go. Wow, Amos with a 20. Equal, may the fortune be with you as well, Elbrindel. And it's a 12, it's not bad. Goblin 1. 5. Goblin 2. 5. Could be brutal, though. Goblin 2 for all of the Francophone listeners out there. I hope you appreciate that little tip of the hat. Of course, Canada having 2 official languages. Alright. Amos is up first. We all know what he's going to do. Amos wasted no time in closing the distance, gritting his teeth as he lashed out with his short sword. And how does he do? A 4! However, his luck was as poor as his partner's, and the slice went well wide. The Goblin doesn't get a turn yet, so Elbrindel's going to take another shot. She's going to move in. Elbrindel stepped, took a few steps forward, frowning at Amos's ill-timed swing while firing off a second arrow with ease. Good luck to her. That's definitely a hit. This time, as fate would have it, the arrow struck true. And pull up some damage. 3. Catching the Goblin in the neck. And we're going to call it on that one. Black blood spurted from the wound. And within moments, the small creature lie dead. Yes, okay, now, there was not a whole lot of noise there. The Goblin didn't get a chance to actually say anything. There was no steel on steel from the sword, just the rocks, so I actually don't think a lot of noise was created. Let's do a quick intelligence check. Actually, wisdom. On both Amos and Elbrindel to see if they will attempt to maybe hide and wait, set up a second ambush. Or even create a distraction or something. Amos gets a 16. Elbrindel gets an 8. So I will say, actually, that they do have a chance to do so. Who do you think you are? Yeah, good point. I mean, we can't all be the man when it comes to GMing. I'm trying my best here. But what we're going to do, actually, they're smart enough to set an ambush, but I'd like to create an array for what this might look like. So I'm going to give everybody a chance to get in on this. So we're going to do at least a 2, maybe a 3-sided array here for this one. And so what is this ambush going to look like? Are they simply going to wait? Simply wait. Dragging the body out into the open, allowing for an attack from behind on whomever discovers the corpse. That's just the most basic one I can think of. But of course, if any of you out there have any ideas as to what they should do, I'm more than game to listen to that, and we'll see what we can come up with. There. Yeah, so a bit of the discussion in the chat, in one of the D&D games that we're playing, of course, polymorph is being quote-unquote perhaps abused. I mean, that's a matter of debate. So our DM has been having quite the fun time trying to find workarounds for that. Just for all those viewers who may not be in the know. Okay, set up a trip line and make some noise to get them to run out. Okay, I like it. Great. And that could actually play into number 1. Set up a tripwire, trip line. No, basically hidden, and make some noise to draw more. I guess draw more foes out. We don't know that they're all goblins. Of course, we as the reader might have this inclination, but Amos and Elbrindel have a suspicion, of course. Goblins don't really play that nicely with too many other creatures. There may be some other synergistic creatures, but it's probably more than likely to be a goblin encampment. And 3. I think we will probably just leave it at 2, unless anybody has any further suggestions. Give you a couple more seconds to make another one if you want. And if not, we will proceed. Alright, let's do it. I'm gonna roll it up. 2d1. Well, 1d2, but I don't know why they have it backwards here. And drum roll, please. 2 it is. The tripwire. Lindsay's getting lucky today. Okay. So what they're gonna do is, thinking on his feet, Amos quickly bent down to lift the body of the small goblin onto his shoulder, moving away from the cave mouth to dump it unceremoniously out of view. Let's set up a trap and ambush them when they come calling. Amos suggested. And being the sort of roguish type, I think we're gonna have Elbrindel suggest it, the actual type. How about a tripwire? I have some very thin, strong rope that I gathered from the wreck. I think it was used for lashing. Should serve the purpose. Elbrindel replied. Amos gave a curt. Kurt gave his curt assent, and the two quickly Began erecting, installing the rope. Caking their hands in dirt, sand, and mud, and running their palms along the top cord, concealing it from the eye. That's an old trick right there. Make sure you could use spray paint. You can use spray paint in a glove. You can use dirt or mud, but anything to mute the colors and make it fit in with all the surroundings, particularly the floor and the walls. Just in case you ever want to set something up to trip brother and sister. Not that I would ever condone such a thing. Alrighty. And we should move the body out near the shoreline, just in front of the tide. It will keep their eyes away from the floor and will spur them forward. Simple creatures, goblins. Amos suggested, having encountered their kind on the high seas, often as part of disposable raiding parties. It's true. Both Amos and Elbrindel work to place the corpse on the shoals. Placing the rusted cutlass or scimitar in the creature's stiffened hands. And that, I think, folks, like I said, just a short one today. We're not quite into the cave, but we are getting there. I think we'll call that for today. Like I say, normally I don't do this on Tuesday. But just wanted to make sure that we kept the story going and made a little bit of progress. I would like to continue this, perhaps this Saturday, so just so we get another, maybe it's a short session, maybe it's a long session. But this Saturday afternoon at about 1:30 Newfoundland time, or 12 noon Eastern, we'll schedule it for then. I should have the character sheets in place by then so we can go over them. And as always, I hope everybody had a good time. Always appreciate people showing up to see what's new and exciting. And once again, hopefully we see what's in store for Amos and Elbrindel as they seek the depths of the Goblin Cave during our next episode, episode 4. Once again, Saturday, 12 noon Eastern, 1:30 Newfoundland time, 1 o'clock Atlantic. Thanks again, everybody. Hope you had a fun time, and we'll continue the story later.